Welcome back to the Single Parents Network podcast. I'm Coach Enrgy, the Single Parents Coach. This podcast is where we discuss topics involving single fathers, single mothers, and those who date single parents, such as co-parenting, blending families, work-life balance, making that transition, and everything else that we are going to bring up today. You will not miss out on anything. I do want to thank my guest, Drew. He is here to discuss everything around the areas of health and wellness for our parents. Drew, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing what valuable information you're going to share. Please introduce yourself to our listeners and let us know a little bit about you and your relation to the topics of health and wellness for parents.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thanks for having me here, Coach Nrgy. So my name is Drew Griesel, and I am a fitness, health, and wellness coach. Originally, before I even got into coaching, I was a practitioner of martial arts. So that's the beginning of my journey into just being aware of physical health. So I'm a longtime martial artist. I'm a Krav Maga instructor. I did that for a long time. And as a Krav Maga instructor, most of my students are civilians. They're just people, right? A lot of single people, a lot of parents, a lot of families come in to train. And many of them began to ask for supplemental training in regards to fitness, because martial arts is martial arts. It's the point of it is not fitness, although there is certainly a fitness aspect to it. And so it was my interaction with these people that kind of brought me to fitness. But once I started to delve into fitness, I got credentialed in fitness coaching and became a certified instructor. But I realized that people that wanted to get fit were missing a lot of things in their life aside from fitness. So my focus then expanded from just fitness to wellness. And when I say wellness, I'm talking body and mind. So people would come to me usually with some sort of body composition goal, right? Like I want to lose weight or I want to build muscle. But I look at their lifestyle and there's so much they're doing that is counterintuitive to having a healthy body, which is kind of the gateway to having a fit body. And so then I expanded to really wellness coaching. And so my business now is Primal Wellness Coaching. And the people that I mostly work with are busy people. So there's two sides of that. The first is busy working professionals, so people that work very busy jobs and just don't think that they have time to bring fitness and wellness into their life. And then the other side of that is parents. And similarly, people that are busy and don't think that they have time to bring fitness and wellness into their life. You combine the two, busy working professionals that are also parents, and it's it's very, very, very challenging to prioritize something like fitness and wellness. And with parents in particular, and this is why I'm excited to talk to you today on this show, is one of the greatest obstacles, and as a parent, I face this obstacle myself, is to prioritize self-prioritization. So you have this child and you're responsible for this child, and this child becomes your life. And you're like, okay, this child comes first in everything. And that's great because they need that, right? They need you to prioritize them. However, if you are living a life of inflammation, if you are living a life where you are not at 100%, if you're at 70% or even 60% or 50% because you are missing all of these aspects of self-care, then in a way you're not prioritizing that other person because you are not showing up for your best for them every day. And that was a realization I had for myself. I had fitness and wellness in my life before I had kids, and then it kind of started to creep away once I had kids because I reprioritized and it wasn't me. But then I realized I am not showing up well for my kids during these times when I am not focusing on myself, when I'm not caring for myself. So then trying to struggle through creating that balance of I have to give time to my family, right? I have to give time to my kids. I have to give time to my responsibilities. but I also have to give time to myself, and that's, to be honest, equally important. So, those are waters that I spent some time navigating, and now I have the privilege of coaching other people in navigating those waters as well, not just finding ways to make time, but then also what to do at that time. And that's where I still coach on fitness and wellness and life habits.
Yes, absolutely. So often parents, once that child comes in, the imbalance begins. Like you
Yes.
said, yes, for once you have a kid, definitely that's where they become top of your priority.
Hmm.
However, there is this art to balancing yourself first in order for you to become the best version of yourself that you can
Yep.
be, that will then allow you to be even better for your children, for your
Yep.
kids. So let's definitely talk more on that. So, for those parents that are having a tough time with figuring out that balance, what would be some of the things that you would share with them on how to focus on self without feeling guilty?
Yeah. Well, one is I like to create some sort of education, some sort of awareness around what's missing, right? This is where you are, and this is where you could be showing up if we together can find a way to make time to bring wellness into your life, right? Okay, you're tired all the time. Guess what? You don't have to be. Um, you're not a morning person. Guess what? You can change that. You can create simple habits that tell your body and mind, hey, it's morning and it's time to be awake and it's time to show up. Um, you struggle to create a schedule that allows for anything because you're just kind of taking things as they come and taking things as they come. Well, guess what? We can we can work scheduling in, and that's one of the biggest things that we do is really just scheduling because it almost always comes back to time. I don't have time. Well, I can't give you more time, but I can help you to organize the time that you have in a way where you have time for your children, you have time for your job, you have time for your family, you have time for yourself.
Yes, you're speaking my language right now. No matter what, and I try not to speak in absolutes, but almost always, anytime that someone comes with some sort of issue, with it could be like a matter of the heart issue, such as, maybe not dealing with a breakup well, or they are, like you said, maybe even from a professional standpoint, they're probably just not having great days at work or whatever it is. Once we start talking about it and digging in, it comes back to the time aspect. Like, well,
Hmm.
what are you putting your time in? Where are you spending your time? Because where your time goes, your energy goes with it. And if you are noticing that, maybe in certain environments there's a lot of negativity, or just within yourself it's like your thoughts may be more negative than maybe positive, you never really look forward to doing something or being around a group of people. Okay, well, why are you spending your time with them? Or, well, how
Right.
much time are you giving to this particular group of people or this task or whatever? And when coming to talk about relationships maybe and parenting, it almost always ends up resulting in the time management.
Yep.
So as soon as you said that, it was like, yes, that's confirmation again that it's all about how are you spending the days that you have, each hour of the day. For me, it's so important to assign it to something. And oftentimes it's assigning it to resting, taking a break.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be filled with activity. It doesn't always have to be filled with action. And so I'm so happy that you mentioned that it basically boils down to time management. And so, how can those who aren't quite good with managing their time yet, how can they, or what steps could you give them in order to get that process started? Something that they can take action on today.
Yeah. So there's two things. One is there's so much that you can do that takes very little time. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And these things as long as you remember to do them, they almost don't require scheduling in because it's such a insignificant time commitment. But if we're going to talk big picture, so there's one main thing, and this is an exercise I do with my clients, and they don't like it. Um, they don't like this, but we evaluate where they are spending their time, right? Okay, you go to work, you have to spend that time at work. You're done with work. Okay, what are you spending your time on? How many hours a day are you watching television, and what does that do for you? How does that contribute to your life? How does that contribute to your health and wellness or to the health and wellness of your child? Um, who are you spending your time with? You have a lot of time with friends, and this is where they don't like it. What are you getting from your friends? And I don't mean everyone needs to be giving you something, but everyone needs to be giving you something. And what I mean by that is there needs to be some sort of reciprocal fulfillment to relationships. So if you're spending your time, let's say you have a best friend and you spend a lot of time with that person, what do you get from that relationship? If it's emotional support, that's great. That is a person that you want to spend time with. If it's just someone that you hang out with because they have a crude sense of humor and they make you laugh, but you don't get much else out of that, then it might be time to look at, okay, where can you redirect some of that time to something that brings you more than a laugh at a crude joke? Or if you are spending your time with people where it's toxic, right? A lot of people have friend groups and it's just it's gossip and it's nothing that's helpful and it's toxic and they spend their time there because that's where they've spent their time. But what if you could take that time back and use it to do things that actually improved your mental health? How would that then impact your ability to show up for your child at work, for your parents, for anyone around you? And so that's the big exercise on the front end of this is, okay, if time is the problem, let's talk about where we're going to find time that you're spending on things that we're going to take back and repurpose for your health and wellness.
Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. Reciprocity. So as you mentioned, as soon as you said that, how important it is for, if you're spending your time with a friend and, make sure that you're getting something out of it, because otherwise that constant time of where one person is doing the giving and they're not feeling as if they're getting something of value back in return, that can be draining. That can be
Yeah.
very draining.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely. It's all about the analysis. And like you said, that part of the process as coaches, what we do, I'll speak for myself, but for me, I love to analyze. I love
Okay.
I love breaking it down and saying, okay, what is this going? Go ahead. Okay, where is this? What happened here? And okay, what are we going to do here about this? I like to get in the details. And so, like you said, a lot of people, they do not like that part of it. I'm going to wrap it up and say the analyzing of their schedule, figuring out exactly what is going where. But
Yep.
yeah, so was that, I think you mentioned there's two things. Was that both or was that just the first one?
Yeah, that was both. So one is finding ways to bring time back by eliminating things from your schedule, and then the other is finding things you can do that really don't require finding time back. So those are the two things. And
Yes,
I do focus on trying to help people bring time back, but most of my focus is on building in these micro habits that don't require a significant amount of time because that's what I found to be most doable for people that are very busy because these are things that they can do strategically throughout their day. And it's not like you need an hour and a half. It's okay, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, maybe 15 minutes here. And that can be a lot easier to come by for many people. And in
definitely.
fact, I have a 10-week wellness transformation program that I've built on the principle that you can you can drastically change your life by building in micro habits. And it's all about micro habits. It's a full transformation, but it's all micro habits. It's nothing huge. It's just a bunch of little things that you stack on top of each other to make a big difference.
Definitely. And sometimes it's just all about that first step, even if it's the smallest of steps.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah.
And from there, that's where the momentum begins to build.
Sometimes you have to, well, for myself as a coach, I have to sell people on trying things
Yeah.
that I know work, but doesn't necessarily register with them as something like that's really functional. For example, someone approaches a fitness coach and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to do some cardio and maybe lift some weights. Like that makes sense to me. But if they approach me and they're saying, hey, I want to, make some body composition changes, I'm like, cool. You're going to go outside first thing in the morning and get some morning light in your eyeballs. You're going to take some deep breaths while you're doing that. Guess what? You're going to put out gratitude into the world. They're like, what are you talking about? I said I want to lose weight. Like, yep, that is step one.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, but yes, it reminds me of, especially when coaching with a client and it's like their first few sessions, they haven't quite probably bought into,
Hmm.
your method, your way of doing things. And sometimes they may not do it that first assignment, during that
Yeah.
first round of you assigning it. And then
Yep.
when they come back that next week or, whenever their next session is and, say, hey, okay, how was it? Oh, well, I didn't really think that. Oh, you didn't. Okay. Well, you got to trust the process. That's what
Yep.
I'm thinking of in this moment, trusting the process.
Yep. And everything that I coach on has scientific backing, right? I don't coach on things that are based purely on my opinion. And actually, as I've built my program, I've collected like scientific studies and things that I can share if people like really want to take the time to research it. Pretty much nobody does, but it's there, so I can say, hey, studies have been done, many studies that have been done that shows if you do this, then this, right? And if you stack all of these things that have each one of these things separately has mental health benefits. Do them all together, wow, amazing mental health benefits. All of these things individually have physical health benefits. Do them all together, it's going to be amazing.
Mm,
And yeah, like you said, sometimes I really have to sell very specific things like gratitude. Gratitude practice is a part of my transformation program, and a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to skip that because, you know, I I don't really know what to do, or it's awkward, or I don't buy into this actually like doing anything,
mm-hmm.
but it does.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my
So I just got to be
gosh.
like, you just got to try it. I want your commitment,
Yeah.
tomorrow. All you're going to do is you're going to sit and you're going to think about two things that you're grateful for. That's it. And then the next day, we're going to do it again. So as a coach, I become an accountability partner, and it's like, all right, you just like you said, trust the process. And if you don't trust the process, trust me, and I will help you to find your way through the process to come to your own realization.
Yes. And that's where as a coach, we often have to remind our clients, okay, well, why did you come to me? You came to me
Right.
for a reason. There was something about something you heard, you read, you saw, something in a conversation that we may have had at a networking event or during a consultation or discovery call. Whatever that was, lean back on it. Remind
Yep.
yourself of it, and let's continue to move forward. And we'll start seeing the results because I'm not going to
Yep.
lead you wrong. Yeah.
And one of the things that I really like to um, recommend for parents in particular is as they're doing any fitness or health and wellness type of activity, they talk about, I don't have time for me. So
Mhm.
make it family time. Your kids there with you, do it together. Doing a little gratitude together. I do that with my boys before I put them to bed. We talk about, okay, tell me three things that you're grateful for. And, sometimes he just looks around. It's like, I'm grateful for that lamp. Like, that's cool. You'd be grateful for that lamp. Um, but we do it together and then we both wind down our days with gratitude. Morning light. You woke up together. Cool. Go outside, maybe just spend 5 minutes outside together. Okay, it's time to exercise. We do these exercise snacks where it's just little short, tiny little bouts of exercise. Cool. Guess what? Any kid can do a squat. Go do some squats together.
Yes, indeed. And especially the younger kids, they just like to be involved. They like to be a
Yeah.
part of the process, a part of something. So for them, it's definitely super easy to get them involved. You can make a game out of it with the younger kids for sure.
Yeah, I was picking up a bunch of kettlebells to use for my clients, and I bought them from a guy that was selling them, and I had my one of my sons with me when I went to pick it up, and he saw that and he's like, "Oh, here, let me give you this one." So he gave me a little 5 pound kettlebell for free, that he just had there. He's like, "Oh, look at your boy. He's so cute. Here, have this tiny kettlebell." And my kid loves it. Like that's his kettlebell. And so if I'm out there doing a workout and he's, "Dada, are you going to use your kettlebell?" I'm like, "Oh, sure. Why not? I wasn't going to, but I am now because you obviously want to use yours. So, let's do some goblet squats or something."
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's cute.
Yeah.
So let's kind of stay in that same area of involving working out. And I know that you focus on getting in shape as well. So what are some things that you can suggest for the parents to start getting in shape, to start incorporating that in their daily or weekly routine?
The biggest and easiest hack for getting in shape is just to move more. It's
Mm,
not even to work out, it's just to move more. A lot of us live extremely sedentary lives. We work desk jobs. We spend time sitting in the car. Then we spend time sitting at a desk. Then we spend time sitting on a couch. Then we spend time sitting at the table. We spend a lot of time not moving. The biggest and easiest hack is just to move more. And an easy way to manage accountability for that is to track your steps. We all have smartphones and many of us have wearable devices. I use this little ring right here that will tell us how much we're moving, and having goals that you hold yourself accountable to is extremely helpful. So, let's just say your goal is 8,000 steps a day. Cool. Well, look at that statistic a few times throughout the day to see how you're doing so you know if you have to get up and move around. Eventually, you just know this is how much I have to move to make my goal. For myself, I like to go for morning walks. I go for a walk first thing in the morning, and then I sprinkle walks in throughout my day. I'm working. Cool. If I have a little break in between sessions, I'm going for a walk, and I have my course. I know if I go this way, it's half a mile. If I go this way, it's full mile. If I go this way, there's some stairs, so I get a little bit of leg work in as well. And I know if I do that this one maybe 3 times, then I'm definitely going to hit my goal today. And then you can there's all kinds of like cheats on that. Like, okay, just park far away in the parking lot. Don't fight for that close space. Just park far away and spend an extra 40 seconds walking to get to the door. And guess what? You got a few more steps in. There's so many things that you can do just to move more. But we've been conditioned to move less, right? It's all about, okay, how efficient can I be? Cool, I have remote
mhm.
controls. I never have to get up.
Yes.
Cool, I'm gonna sit in my car and wait for that close parking spot so I don't have to spend an extra 40 seconds on my feet. Um, yeah. So it's I just look for opportunities to move more. That is the easiest hack for just getting in better shape. And then the other one is the one that I really like to incorporate, as I mentioned it before, is exercise snacks. And that is where you just have, we'll call them mini workouts, 5 minutes, right? And it might be as simple as, okay, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and do 5 squats and 5 push-ups, or I'm going to, you know, maybe do some jumping jacks. It's not even a real workout, but it's enough to raise your heart rate just a little bit. And you raise that heart rate and it takes a little bit longer for it to come down, and that lasts you. And you do a few of those over the course of a day, then you can almost mimic a real workout by just doing these short little bouts of movement. And so
Yes.
those are the busy people hacks. I'm a big fan of full workouts. Um, you can get a phenomenal workout in as little as 30 minutes. If you've got an hour, I would be more strategic with an hour. I wouldn't just go all out for an hour, but you can get a great workout in as little as 30 minutes. If you have an hour, great. You can have a more dynamic workout, but you don't need it. You don't have to have it. People can get fit without committing swaths of time to actual workouts.
Right. And even maybe not having to invest in a lot of equipment or expensive equipment or things like that.
You don't need any equipment. I run an online community, and right now we're on day 12 of a 30-day home workout program that I'm hosting, and it's all body weight. There's no equipment. All you need is gravity and your body.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad that you said that. There's I don't know the name of the app, but it's also a YouTube channel. I'm blanking, drawing a blank on the name, but it's something that I share. I do it myself, but I share it with my clients when it just seems like there's constant excuses. There's
Yeah.
constant like, oh, well, I can't do this. Well, I can't go outside because of this. Well, I have, so it's like, okay, this is one thing that you absolutely can do. And it focuses on, if nothing else, get cardio in. And it's more so just about like a, you're speed walking, but in place,
Okay.
you know?
That
And
must
it's
look
just
very
to get,
silly, but I bet it gets the heart going.
yes, exactly, exactly. And it changes, it gives them that shift in the physical aspect, because like you mentioned, a lot of parents and just people in general are constantly sitting down, especially if they're working from home. It's constantly sitting
Yep.
down. If they rarely leave the house, it's just constant sitting. And so that's one of the suggestions that I mentioned, is just to do some sort of like cardio at home, because not everyone, because I'm also mindful of the physical issues, for lack of a better term, that people may have. And so
Mhm.
some of my
Yep.
clients, they may not be able to do any jumping, because I
Yep.
recommend jumping jacks or jump rope, doing jump rope, if nothing else. Some may have surgery or injuries, so they can't do like push ups or anything like that. So I said, okay, let me find something that anyone can do.
Yep.
And that was the kind of like speed walking, but in place at
Hmm.
home, to where there are no excuses, no equipment, and you don't have to worry about any sort of injuries, that you could possibly sustain, or maybe worrying about something, an injury or surgery that they may have already
Yep.
endured.
Yep.
And another thing that I would suggest, staying with this topic, is for those who are working from home, I like to share a technique. It's called the Pomodoro technique.
Hmm.
And that's where they set timers. So let's just say you set the timer to work straight for 25 minutes. And at the end of the 25 minutes, the timer will go off, and the next break or timer is a break, and that break may be 5 minutes. And then once
Okay.
that 5 minute timer has ended, this clock restarts back at another 25 minutes. So it's
Okay.
25 on, 5 off, 25
Okay.
on, 5 off. And that helps to remind people to get up, take a break, walk away from the
Oh, I
computer,
see. So
walk
your
away from the
25
screen.
minutes is okay, go be productive and do whatever you're doing. But when
Yes,
you hear that timer, get up and move around.
exactly.
I dig it.
Yes, indeed. And that often helps to create, it's usually the, what do you want to call it? There's a word I want to say. Is it initiator? No, igniter? Something, one of those words. It ignites, it starts the process of them creating habits, creating the habit of getting up and moving.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, they get so focused on their work to where a couple of hours can pass by and they
Yep.
don't even realize it, and they have not gotten up in a couple of
Yep.
hours. And so just being intentional and remembering at least that one thing, about setting the timer, and then just letting technology take over from there and remind you, get up, sit back down,
Yep.
get up, sit back down. So that's another thing that tends to help people who are constantly sitting often, or that are mostly at home throughout the day, like a lot of people are.
Yep.
Yes.
A
The
hack that I myself employ as a father is just playing with my kids.
Yeah.
I play with my kids all the time. I dance with them, I wrestle with them. My older son named a game that we play Hey You, where I basically just chase after him yelling Hey You, and if I catch him, I throw him onto the bed or tickle him or something. So short bouts of intense movement. It's almost like a hit workout. Um,
Yes.
we go to the park and he's not the kid that's over there like, cool, see you later. I'm gonna go play with the other kids. He's like, come play with me. All right, let's go play. Maybe I'm pushing him on the swing, so I'll give a push, do a squat, give a push, do a squat. There's all kinds of opportunities to work in movement as a parent.
Yes, for sure. Oh, kids. Yeah, gotta love them. They'll
And a lot of the time I don't want to. I'm tired. Like, Dad, let's play Hey You. I'm like, oh, just
Yes.
said I haven't sat down for 4 hours. I just sat down. Now you want to play Hey You. But all right, let's go. Let's play Hey You.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
gonna get some more steps in. Go me.
Exactly. And the mindset, that's the other key piece to this is to look at it as a benefit, look at it as an opportunity, look at it as instead of, for an example, oh, now the kid wants to go play, look at it like, you know what? I haven't gotten, as many steps in today that I wanted to get in. This is a great opportunity. Let me take
Yep.
advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
And so for me, in this conversation, mindset is another thing that I would like to say for the listeners. Mindset, parents, for those who may have kids who are still in those grade school ages and they're very active and they want to get up and move and play and laugh and spin around, instead of looking at it like, oh, I'm so tired, or maybe later, take advantage of it and say, you know what? Let me count this as
Yep.
my mini workout, my exercise snack, as Drew mentioned. This is my exercise snack for this part of the day. So mindset is a huge piece in all of this.
Yeah. And as you're alluding to, those moments are fleeting. They go away.
Mhm.
There's going to be a point where my boys don't want to wrestle with me anymore, or I don't want to wrestle with them because they're beating me up, and it's embarrassing. So I will, I will capitalize on those moments while they're here.
Right. Be the hero dad right now. Not saying that you
Yeah.
won't be their hero, forever, but be that dad where it's like, oh my gosh, he can dunk, or oh my gosh, he can throw far while you
Yeah.
can. Awesome. And you mentioned efficiency and the convenience. We've been life itself is all about efficiency. It's all
Hmm.
about I threw the word in being things being convenient. And it's so easy, like you mentioned, whenever you go to the grocery store or whenever when you are getting out of the house, take advantage of, instead of trying to find that very front parking spot, go back a few spaces. As long as it's safe, go back a few spaces and being, of course, aware of your surroundings. But in general, yeah, there's, like you mentioned, there's so many examples, so many little things that we often maybe overlook or don't really give enough credit to
Hmm.
that can be really beneficial.
Yeah. I recall a moment a while back. I was working in an office, and we had a break room, and I had two water bottles. I would go and fill up my two water bottles, and a colleague that sat outside the break room was like, Drew, what's with the two water bottles? I'm like, well, this is how much water I drink while I'm here. So I filled them both up. He's like, why don't you just fill up one twice? You get a few more steps in that way. You get one extra little walk around the floor to the break room. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't actually need two water bottles because this is a refillable bottle, and I can take 3 minutes to walk back over here and refill my water bottle. And I just got a few more steps in, and I just had a reminder in my empty water bottle to get up and move.
Yes.
Like, just those little things.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about how do I have what am I have my note here? Okay, so let's discuss how parents can get to a point of where they can be their best selves or be at their best in order to be the best that they can be for
Yeah.
other people and especially for their kids. So let's discuss that for a little bit.
And this mindset that I'm going to talk about actually comes from my time as a self-defense instructor.
Okay.
And so in the school that I teach at, we host a quarterly women's self-defense seminar. So it's a workshop just for women. They can come in without being in a class full of a bunch of bros, and learn some self-defense. The first hour is lecture. It's all about psychology of self-defense and violence. And the second hour is practical application. We do some fun moves and put it into practice. But one of the biggest things that we cover in the front end of these workshops is self-permission.
Hmm.
In this case, in the case of women's self-defense, it's self-permission to commit violence when confronted with violence. because a lot of women have a mental block on committing violence, even when they are under threat. So that's a, our initial approach there is before any of this even matters, you have to be able to give yourself permission to confront violence with violence. In the subject of health and wellness, particularly on the subject that we're talking about, it is you have to give yourself permission to prioritize yourself. And people have a block with that too. They have a block that that's selfish. I'm not going to do that. It is selfish. I'm not going to take time away from my child to focus on me. This whatever, this hour that we spend together watching TV, like that's our time together. We love this. This is really special for me. Like, okay, but what about outside of that hour? How are you showing up? What if you could take 30 minutes of that hour and use it to exercise or use it to work on some of these wellness habits? How does that impact how you show up the rest of the time? What does that mean for you? What does that give back to you, right? If you're showing up better everywhere else and for everyone else around you. So self-permission is I can't emphasize how important self-permission is, and to just get over the feeling of guilt,
Mhm.
right? To accept that by focusing on yourself, you are focusing on the people that you care about and the people that frankly have to deal with you, right? Your kids have to deal with you. They're stuck with you. Whether they like it or not, they're stuck with you. So you should be doing everything you can to show up well for them 100% of the time. And we're not going to. We never show up well 100% of the time, but give yourself every edge you can.
Yeah. And it's a cliche, not a cliche, a saying that kind of describes this moment that is popular is where they say to put your oxygen mask on first.
Right.
When it in relation to being in a plane and things like that, put
Yep.
your oxygen mask on first
Yep.
because you're no good
Yeah.
to anyone else if you're you know you are no good to anyone else if you are not at your best, if you are not in the being the best version of you that you can be.
Yep. I was on another podcast and the host asked me to prioritize three things: my children, my spouse, and myself. And I absolutely hated being asked that question on a on a
Why?
podcast that was going to be available to everyone. But I also loved it because after like, kind of hiding myself, I said me, because if I don't take care of myself, how am I going to show up well for these other two dynamics of my life? So no one's going to prioritize me like I could prioritize me. So I guess I better prioritize me.
For sure, for sure. And for those who, if I'm ever in like earshot of a person who may express feelings of either not wanting to seem or feel selfish or having thoughts of guilt. So if I'm ever in earshot of those conversations or in the actual midst of the conversation, I often ask them, well, with you taking time for self, is it illegal? Is it immoral? Is it unethical?
Yeah.
And that allows them to just pause for a moment and think about, well, no, I'm not causing harm to anyone by taking time for myself. It's not illegal for me to do it. It's not immoral, especially as a parent. It's not immoral for me to take time for myself. And so, yeah, once I sometimes break it down that way for them, it allows them to say, okay, I'll prioritize myself a little bit more, and then just doing little things, starting off small, taking those small steps, like you said. The I like how you mentioned the exercise snacks, but taking just those mini steps, it
Yeah.
will help them to then see that, oh, okay, it didn't, nothing happened, nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
The fact that I said, you know what, I want to take a 30-minute soak in the tub, or the fact that I said, you know what, I want to go to the park by myself today and just sit and
Yeah.
connect with nature and walk around and breathe the fresh
Yep.
air, you know
Yep.
what? It's okay. Nothing bad happened.
Yep. It it's a struggle, and it took me a while to get there. Like, I can emphasize with anyone that has a problem with that, to your point that you just said, like, I love the beach. I live near-ish to the beach, and I used to go all the time. And when I became a parent, it wasn't really a priority. And now I take mental health days for myself, and that might just mean I take a couple hours off of work, because that's an easy time for me to carve out where I don't really have to reschedule my life outside of work, and I'll just go to the beach by myself, and I don't feel bad about it just because I didn't bring my kids, because that was my me time.
Yes, that is awesome. I'm glad that you shared that one. That helps for, especially during the summer. Not saying that people don't go to the beach during the winter, but during the summer, that can be one of those like, you know what? I don't I don't have to lug the entire family to
Right.
go to the beach. I can
Yep.
go with this, with it just being me and it not
Yep.
being this big event. Yeah.
Even during the winter for me, I will put on my hoodie and grab a hot cup of coffee, and just go sit in the sand, and feel the breeze and listen to the ocean.
Yes, indeed. I can sense it, the peacefulness.
Quite serene.
Absolutely. And hearing I love water. For me, water, bodies of water, it's very therapeutic, whether I'm in it or listening to the movement or the motion of water.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, all right, Drew, we have come to this part of the show where I'm going to transition us to my fun segment. Are you down to play along with me?
Let's go.
Let's do
Let's
it.
see what you
All
got for
right.
me.
Yes, indeed. So, this is where I will ask you two, maybe three questions that have nothing to do with the topics of wellness or parents or health or anything like that. And this is just an opportunity for us to get to know another side of you. So, my first question for you is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Can I pick two?
Do you let your clients pick too?
All
Okay, that's fine. Go to.
right. Number one, people that feel like they need to prove their point.
Okay.
I'm a rather mild-mannered person. If I have conviction in what I believe, that's usually good enough for me. I don't need to sell other people on it, unless they're paying me to sell them on it. Then it's a different story. If it's a client, it's a different story. If it's just someone I'm talking to, I don't really care if they buy into whatever I'm saying. But some people, it's really important to them that you agree with whatever they're saying, and they just latch on to you, and they don't want to let go until you agree. I'm like, hey man, I don't care. I have my opinion, you have yours. Let's just be cool with that.
Yes.
So there's that. The other one is Prius drivers. Sorry, Prius drivers, but it's terrible. Driving behind you is the worst thing in the world.
Why?
They're so slow and timid. Come on. Just, stay in the slow lane. I know I've just alienated like hundreds of thousands of people. It's okay. I own it.
Those are his words, not mine. That is. Let me move on to the next question. Oh my goodness. The next question is, what is a fashion trend you would bring back?
You know what? Someone already brought back fanny packs, which I couldn't believe. Like, when I was a kid, I mean, they weren't even cool back then, but people wore them, and I was the dork that had like my inhaler in my fanny pack because my stonewashed jeans were too tight. I couldn't fit it in my pocket, so I had a Ninja Turtles fanny pack. Um, and then, I mean, they weren't never cool, and then they really went away. Like, I tried wearing it to high school and like almost got expelled from the country. But they came back. So that's one that, I mean, I don't have to say, but I have a fanny pack now, and I absolutely adore it. And yes, I still keep my inhaler in it. Um, Otherwise, a trend I would bring back. Gosh.
And your fanny pack one was a good one. If you want to
Yeah.
just leave that at that, we can.
Yeah, I might have to leave with that.
Okay.
I've never been very I've never been a trendy person. I've never been terribly aware of what the trends are. But it's funny to see something that was so dorky come back as a trend.
Yes, and it's everywhere.
It
And
is. It's everywhere, and
I
they're cool. Like there's designer fanny packs now.
convenient.
Yeah,
I
they're
have
so
one in
convenient.
almost every color. I do. It's hands free. Come on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
yes.
life is good with the fanny pack.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. I'm going to ask you another one because this has been
Okay.
fun. Alrighty. So, what is one random or fun fact about you or something that you know?
Hmm. Random fun fact about me is I am in my I grew up in Southern California. That's where I am now. I've lived other places, but I'm back here now. And I was never a surfer. Everyone always I'd be asked all the time if I'm a surfer because you're a, blonde white boy from Southern California, you must be a surfer. No, I'm not a surfer. Well, I'm becoming a surfer in my now that I'm in my 40s and I'm picking up a new habit because new habits keep you mentally sharp and surfing also has an amazing physical aspect to it. And I have a friend that surfs that just maybe a month and a half ago, I messaged him and said, "Hey, you want to work out with me tomorrow?" He said, "No, you want to surf with me tomorrow?" I said, "Sure. If you got a surfboard I can use and you want to show me how to use it." And now I've been out a handful of times and I'm having a great time. I just bought a wetsuit because it's winter's coming and I'm looking forward to continuing to build upon myself as a person with different talents. So even, even in your we'll say middle age, you can still pick up new habits. It's fun to be bad at things. I like being bad at things because it gives me an opportunity to try and become good at it.
Yes. Yes. See, mindset. It's all about how you look at it.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay. Surfer Drew, let's go. Let's go. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for entertaining us and
Sure.
participating in that fun segment. So, this is where I am going to see if you happen to have any final takeaways, maybe any golden nuggets, or maybe something you forgot to mention earlier as we were discussing health and wellness for parents. So, any last notes that you would like to leave us?
The only thing that I did not mention that I would be remiss not to mention is the importance of good sleep.
Mm,
And this can be a struggle, particularly for parents, when your sleep is oftentimes at the mercy of someone else allowing you to have good sleep. But do everything you can to get good sleep, everything you can. And when I say good sleep, I don't mean a lot of sleep. You don't have to get 9 hours of sleep to get good sleep. Good sleep means you're going through the 3 to 4 stages of sleep, your light sleep, your deep sleep, your REM sleep, and you are maximizing the benefits that those give you, right? You get your physical benefits from deep sleep, you get your mental and emotional benefits and your memory benefits from REM sleep. And you can go a whole 8 hour night of sleep, but not spend very much time in those sleep phases because you're not getting good sleep. So get good sleep hygiene, prepare your body to have good sleep and to stay asleep and to go through all the sleep cycles. And you can get coaching on that. A lot of people don't really know what sleep hygiene means, but it is so important, especially for parents. As much as you can, prime your body to sleep well. Even if you have a kid that wakes you up twice a night, you can still cycle through your sleep stages in those in between moments. And the better you set your body up to do that, the more you're going to get from even the broken sleep that you got. So that's the one thing that I really want to say. Otherwise, just re-emphasizing self-permission to take time for yourself. Again, with parents in particular,
mhm.
with busy professionals too, because they're like, oh, my work's so important. But with parents, they're like, this child is my life. And so I'm not important anymore. Guess what? You are important. So acknowledge your own importance.
Yes, because your child depends on you.
Yep. That's what it
Wonderful.
is.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you did mention about sleep because a lot of parents, unfortunately, they're constantly losing more and more sleep day after day after day. And so, yeah, that was an awesome takeaway to wrap us up. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Drew, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing all of the information that we discussed. Now, I do want to give you the opportunity to let us know, how can we support you? How can we get into your ecosystem? So let us know what you have going on. If you have anything that is up for promoting, please, this is the time to do so.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to do so. I guess first thing I'll say is I have a podcast of my own. It is called the Superhuman Blueprint Podcast. So check it out. It is mostly about fitness and wellness, although due to my passion for self-defense and martial arts, I also dabble into conversations on those topics as well. But it's primarily around health and wellness. I've interviewed a lot of people that are professionals in various aspects of health and wellness, doctors, nutritionists, people that specialize in minerals, a chiropractor. I interviewed a bodybuilder who is a single twin mom. That was a fun one. And a lot of other professionals. And so check out the Superhuman Blueprint podcast. You can just find it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can go to the superhumanblueprintpodcast.com. Otherwise, my business, like I mentioned, is Primal Wellness Coaching. So you can check out primalwellnesscoaching.com. From there, you can get into my online community. You can sign up for our email updates. I have a lot of like freebies that I give out, different exercise tips and things like that. The one I just put out is a list of 22 stretches with video tutorials. So you can go there and I'll get you on the list to receive all of the free things that I like to give out. Otherwise, the best thing that you can do for me is to take care of yourself. Go out and live your best life that is designed in a way where you are going to live a long and strong and healthy life.
Awesome. Make sure you go support, follow, share this information to someone else that is in your neighborhood, in your family, in your friend circle that can take advantage and where this information that we talked about can be beneficial. Once again, I want to thank you, Drew. Everyone, please make sure you reach out to me, thesingleparentsnetwork.com, if you would like to get more information about this topic. If you yourself would also like to go a little bit deeper and figure out, well, how can you start to create a more healthy life for you, your family, your kids, so forth and so on. So I want to always remind you that when you master your mind, when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. Until the next time, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.